What's going on, guys? It's Hi with the Upper Left USA, and since there was some good weather today, I decided to take the Sportster out for a ride and to take some pictures, and that's pretty much how this video came about. There's really no rhyme or reason to it. For this video, I was using the Nikon N2020 with the Nikon 50mm f1.8D. I've actually already made a dedicated video to the Nikon N2020, and if you're interested in learning more about this camera, definitely check out the card in the corner of this video. If you watched that video, you would know that I actually had two of these cameras and I got them together as a lot, two body and two lenses in one sale, and I actually got rid of those cameras and bought this brand new Nikon N2020. And this roll of film was actually the first time I've ever actually used this camera as it was brand new. New or old, everything I said in my original Nikon N2020 video applies here because it's the exact same camera. As far as the Nikon N2020, its claim to fame is that it was the first really popular autofocus camera from Nikon. And for a autofocus camera, it's a hit or miss. Looking at it today, this camera obviously doesn't perform as well as its more modern competitors, but being a 30-year-old camera with 30-year-old technology, this camera does quite well. Shooting today in various situations where I had a lot of light, this camera actually performs very well, and autofocus tends to grab focus quite quickly. But again, to repeat what I said in my original Nikon N2020 video, this camera never really grabs focus on the first try. It generally hunts, goes back and forth just a slight bit, then grabs focus, whether or not there is sufficient lighting. It's just how this camera works. It's good for the era when it was produced, but today it's kind of slow. That's why when I generally choose to use this camera, I use it on static subjects. That's why I was shooting buildings, structures, stuff like that in this video. Not to say that this camera can't perform in street photography and just action sports, but it's not something that I would pick as my first choice. All those complaints aside, the Nikon N2020 is actually one of those cameras that I really gravitate towards. It's a weird fascination that I have with this camera. It's not because it's the best performing camera, but it's the whole package, I guess. The way that it looks, the way that it feels your hand, everything about it just really appeals to me. The great thing about this camera is that you can actually pick it up for a fairly good price. I think I only paid $150 for a brand new body, so in my opinion, that's kind of a steal. Moving on to Ilford HP5. This is a film that I've used a lot in the past because you can actually pick up a 100-foot roll of this film for about $60 if I remember correctly. And if you bulk roll yourself, you can get them 20 rolls of film for about $3 each, so pretty economical. The only difference with this particular roll that I shot today was with the way that I developed it. Typically, I would use Ilford Ilfosol 3 to develop pretty much all of my film, but now I am switching over to Ilford Ilfotec DDX. Switching over to DDX wasn't necessarily a calculated decision, but more on a whim because I've always been fascinated with it, considering that it costs about twice the price of Ilfosol 3. So for twice the price, does it provide twice the performance, twice the benefits? So far, I've only developed one roll of film with DDX, and that is, of course, this roll of Ilford HP5. As of right now, I don't really want to give my opinions on it because obviously I've only done one roll, so I don't have a huge pool of images to look at. If you're interested in seeing more images developed with DDX, definitely check back to this channel because moving forward until this bottle of DDX that I have runs out, all films moving forward on this channel will be developed with Ilford Ilfotec DDX. So one thing that I'd like to point out, I don't know if you guys caught on to this, but towards the beginning of this video, after like the first couple images, I just decided to not take off my helmet anymore and essentially tried to shoot through my helmet, and if you can imagine, it's sitting right there. And once you have the face shield and the helmet on, obviously you're about like just 4 or 5 inches away from your actual eyes. So if you can imagine, I was holding the camera pretty much this far away from my face and trying to look through the viewfinder and frame everything up. I kind of took this as a challenge to see how well this would actually work in real world practices, but that translated to some really weird compositions. For example, this picture was actually supposed to look more like this. And this picture was supposed to look like this. I guess I was just trying to entertain myself a little bit more, and it kind of worked for those few images. I swear, I thought that I had it down in the viewfinder when it was away from me, but I guess I was wrong. So what is the point of shooting so far away from my face that I can barely even see the viewfinder? I guess what you can take away from that is to try something new. You never know, it may work out, it may not. And if you've never tried it before, shooting from the hip is a very viable technique, especially in street photography when maybe you're nervous or your subject may be nervous and they're seeing you about to take a picture. You don't want to put the camera to your face, shoot from the hip. Hold it from your waist or something like that. That may be sneaky, it may be not, but at the end of the day, you may get the image. And that just about covers everything about this video. If you've enjoyed watching this video, give me a thumbs up. Share this video, comment with any questions that you may have. Definitely subscribe for more content to come. Thanks for watching this video. I'll see you guys next time.